Okay, so this is going to be my August wrap-up. I read 16 books this month. So we're going to start off with the two that I reread on audiobook. I listened to Ready Player One by Ernest Cline, and I listened to Paper Towns by John Green. I did this at the very, very end of July, and it was because I was unable to read physically because I was falling asleep every 20 minutes as I was recovering from major surgery. But since then, I have been on a reading storm. I think that it says in itself how much I like the books that I reread them or listened to them on audio, both Ready Player One by Ernest Cline and Paper Towns by John Green. Actually, Paper Towns is not my favorite John Green book. That is by far The Fault in Our Stars. I think that it is his best book to date, but I reread it because the movie's coming out, even though I knew I wasn't going to be able to go see the movie in the theater. So I will have to see now that I am able to get out and about a little bit if it's still playing in my area. It's probably not, but if it is, I'll go see it. I've heard reasonable things about it. So, the next book I read was More Happy Than Not by Adam Silvera. I didn't like this book. I enjoy LGBTQ books, but this one, I would say it gets a 2.5 out of 5. 2.5 out of 5. It wasn't horrible, but it wasn't great. It was okay. And that's exactly what it was. It was okay. So I will do a more in-depth book review on everything in my list, but I didn't do them during August, so I'm going to have to do them during September. So look forward to these book reviews in September. The next book I read was actually Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. I did not realize that the next book doesn't come out until February, which is 6 months away. I'm not happy with that because I am ready for the next book. So I gave this one a 4 out of 5. I highly recommend this to anyone who's heard anything good about it. Check it out. I don't want to oversell you because I don't want you to go into this book overhyped. I think that would be the worst thing you could do for this book, is go into this book overhyped. And get past page 60. Get past page 60 and then things are much better. It is not, in fact, a Cinderella retelling, and that's what I thought for the first 60 pages of this book. So, there you go. The next book I read is actually a trilogy. It is The Serena Legacy by Anna Banks. I actually accidentally ordered Of Triton, not realizing it was the second book in the series, so then I had to go back and read Of Poseidon. I got through with Of Poseidon and ordered Of Neptune, knowing I was going to finish this trilogy. Now, that being said, I give Of Poseidon and Of Triton each 3.5, and I give this one a 2, and I will explain in an in-depth review. Like I said, I will explain about this trilogy in an in-depth review. Basically, this could have been one long book or 2 medium-sized books. Medium is what this is. I felt the last book was highly unnecessary. Then there's a lot of fun coming your way, because for the rest of the month, I read graphic novels. I just kicked my stand. The first one I read was The Wicked and the Divine, the Faust Act. I give this a solid 3 out of 5. Solid 3. This rating may improve with book 2, which I have not yet ordered, but I am looking forward to getting and to reading. I would give it a 3.5 just because of the art. The art is gorgeous. You can't go wrong with the art in this graphic novel, and honestly, that's probably what's going to get me through the next volume, since it is out, since it is available. We'll see about volume 3, though. I'm sure there's going to be a volume 3. The next ones are in no particular order because I've actually read them all in the last, 3 days. So the first one is Sex Criminals Volume 1. This is rated mature for a reason. Look at the title. Sex Criminals. There's graphic sex. I mean, you see a dick. More than once. And of course you see boobs. But, surprise? Not really. So, slight violence, lots of nudity, rated mature for a reason. Only read it if you are mature enough to handle it. Again, in-depth review for all of these is coming. The next one I thought was really interesting, and that is Witches. It's a graphic novel by Snyder, Jack, Hollingsworth, and Robbins. Witches with a Y. Witches. This follows a family who moves, and you get pulled right into the story from the prologue. And yes, there's a prologue. I cannot wait for Volume 2. I don't even know if Volume 2 is out. Honestly, this is one that I finished about 3 hours ago and had to move on to something else and didn't look up to see if there was a sequel out yet, but I know if there is, I'm getting it. This is horror. There is violence, violence, violence. There is, this is rated mature or violence. There are a couple sexual references, but no sexual acts. I don't think. I didn't see any that I remember. It didn't impress me if there were any. So this one is violence, violence, horror. Horror is the correct category for this graphic novel, and it was good. I will, again, all of these things will have in-depth reviews. I know I was given ratings on some of them. I'm not going to give ratings for each individual graphic novel because they're part of larger stories, and I will explain that more in the review. If you want to know anything about any of the graphic novels that I've read this month, I am doing more in-depth reviews. So the next one I read was East of West, Volume 1, which does not have a subtitle. Some of them do, some of them don't. I liked this. I liked this a lot. Non-spoilers, it's about the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse in a western setting. A alternative history, westernized world. I liked it. I'm getting the rest that are out now, because there's at least 3 more available right now. I kind of went on a sprawl and bought a whole bunch of Volume 1s. And I think almost all of them are from Image Comics. So, there's that thing. Then there was Low, The Delirium of Hope. This is rated mature for violence and for sex, and lots of both. Basically, the sun has expanded and we follow this family, the Kane family, and there is a great prologue by Remender at the beginning that explains the character Stell Kane. So I actually managed to skip this page, but that's it right there. It's not very long. If you are mature enough to handle sex and violence, and you like just sci-fi action, adventure, I think you like it. Just know there's lots of death, there's lots of sex, and it's not that friendly towards women. Not that friendly towards women. Again, more in-depth review coming, but if that's all you want to know about it, Low by Image Comics, written by Rick Remender, illustrated by Greg Tashini. Probably didn't say either one of that right. The next 4 I read are actually volumes 1 through 4 of Saga. I read all 3 in about 3 hours last night. I was making some cured meat and I needed something to do, And so I was like, you know what, I haven't read Saga yet. And I got into the first one, and I was like, I can't stop. I cannot stop. The fifth one comes out in September or October, I can't remember, and you know what? This is going to be one of those things like Walking Dead, where I pre-order it because I want it as soon as it comes out, but I don't want to read it every month because it's not enough. So I think probably the volumes, at least for The Walking Dead by Image Comics, have been released every 6 or so months, sometimes more frequently, but usually this is 6 chapters per volume, and I think each chapter comes out monthly. I loved this. I think the artwork is great. That's the same character from the first one. These are 2 completely different characters. And then, spoilers, I'm just going to tell you who that is. But I have a favorite character in this one, and she's a ghost, and that's all I'm going to say about that. She's a ghost. Her dialogue is written in pink. You'll understand if you read Saga. I will not do each one of these books individually. I will do all 4 of these together, since I read all 4 of them together. And that is my wrap-up. I would say my absolute favorite this month was probably The Red Queen by Victoria A. Beard. I think it was sufficiently frustrating. It was satisfying. I just loved it. I loved it. My favorite graphic novel this month was Saga, with Witches coming in at a solid second, possibly tied with East of West Volume 1. I'm going to go by the rest of East of West that's available and see if Witches Volume 2 is available, because if it is, I'm getting it. Anyway, the only one that I didn't really like was More Happy Than Not. And again, if you want to know more about that, I am doing a more in-depth review. You can find it in my channel. If I can figure out how to do annotation links, I will figure that out and do that. If I can't, links for all of the things in my wrap-up, all the reviews on my channel will be in the description down below, and I will see you either in a review, in a tag, or in my September wrap-up. Right now I'm currently reading 2 books. One I have sort of put down. That is Tell the Wolves I'm Coming Home, or Tell the Wolves I'm Home. I always think it's Coming Home. The other one is Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson, which I know a lot of people on BookTube have already read and either liked or loved. I don't think I've seen anybody who hasn't liked it, but that's just that. Anyway, I'm gonna go start recording some reviews because I have things to say about these books. Alright everyone, I will see you in my next video. Bye!